Hello, good evening. We will continue today's session of the most important questions which are going to be asked in prelims examination. And by going to, I mean that they are from the most repeatedly asked topics. And we will also discuss the question pattern of how the questions are formed. So, when you are going to be revising these things, right? When you are going to be revising your syllabus, make sure that you keep these points in your mind as well, that how to frame such questions in your brain as well. All right, so we will continue with this, and we have 25 questions for today, through which we will understand what are the most repetitively asked topics. At the same time, what are the ways in which the questions can be formed, and who will form these questions? You are going to form these questions in your brain after I tell you how the questions are usually formed. All right, so let us begin our session, and I want your participation, and you are supposed to answer the questions in the chat box. All right, so let us begin with this question. Question first: which of the following is a feature common to both the Harappan and Vedic cultures? A. The use of iron tools and weapons. B. The worship of the mother goddess. C. The practice of sacrifice and ritual offering. And D. The prevalence of a caste system based on occupation and birth. Which of the following statements are correct? Please do answer instinctively. Do not worry if your answer will be incorrect or not, because that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're answering. Nisar, please answer as well. All right, anyway. So B is the correct answer, because we have seen that the female goddess was preached not only in Vedic civilization but also in Harappan civilization. But let us look at other options. Iron tools. See, iron was discovered in 1000 BC, right? So in Harappan people, they were not aware of iron. So that is incorrect. The practice of sacrifice and ritual offerings. See, the Harappan civilization, we do not know much about the religion. So we cannot say that they were performing sacrifice, etc. And the caste system, it is very known that the Harappan civilization was relatively egalitarian in nature. That means it lacked caste system. Let us come to question 2. Which of the following best describes the role of Buddhism in ancient India? Please remember, such questions will be asked in prelims. Why? Look at the term best describe. This will be mentioned. All the four statements are correct. But which statement is the best description? Such questions are asked. They are very controversial question, and civil services, they ask this question intentionally to confuse the students. Let us go to the options. A. Monolithic religion that supplanted other faiths and dominated India, Indian society for centuries. Secondly, a philosophy that emerged as a critique of Vedic orthodoxy and spread through peaceful means. C. A political movement that changed the authority of the Mauryan and Gupta empires and sought to establish a new order. D. A cultural tradition that integrated the elements of Hinduism, Jainism, and other local religions and produced a rich legacy of art, literature, and thought. Which of the following best describes the role of Buddhism? Okay. Nisar, do you have an answer? All right, both of you are going B, but answer is D, because look, the question is best describing. Yes, B is correct. B is not wrong. That it was a philosophy that emerged as a critique of Vedic orthodoxy and spread through peaceful means. But when you are describing Buddhism, is this the first line which will come to your mind? No. The first line will be that it is a cultural tradition that integrated the elements of Hinduism, Jainism, other local religions, which produced a rich legacy of art, literature, and thought. All right, so please try to like make sure that you understand this, and in future as well, such questions will be asked in prelims, where you have to think that what is the first, like if you are trying to define Buddhism, right? If I give you a task to define Buddhism, the first point should never be that it is a critique of Vedic orthodoxy, etc. Right? This is not the definition of Buddhism. Definition of Buddhism will come from the fact that it integrated all the good elements of the religions and it produced a rich legacy of art. All right, do you understand? Write yes or no in the chat if you understand these types of questions, because they require you have to answer the most fitting. Do not just tick whatever you think is correct. No, just compare as to which is the perfect definition or which is the better point. All right, so write yes or no if you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, see, both A and B are correct, by the way, right? A, B, and D. These three options are correct, but the best description is D. All right, let's move to the next question. Which of the following best describes the significance of Mauryan Empire in ancient India? Again, best describe is the keyword. A. Military power, a military power that subjugated the neighboring states and expanded its territory through conquest. B. A cultural center that patronized art, literature, and philosophy and attracted scholars and travelers from distant lands. C. A religious authority that promoted Buddhism and the Buddhist teachings and established a moral and ethical code for society. D. A bureaucratic system that centralized power and standardized government, laying the foundation of later empires and dynasties. No, only one is correct, Nisar. You have to choose only one because the question is which best describes them. So ABC might be correct, but which of the following is the best description of modern empire? Try to reattempt this question. All right. So the answer is D. Correct. Answer is D. Why? Because if you think about modern empire, think about what is the definition of modern empire? If someone is asking you to define modern empire, will you say that it was a military power which subjugated neighboring states? Obviously, neighboring states, what was the neighboring state? Only Kalinga, right? They only subjugated Kalinga. So this is not their definition. Then B, a cultural center that patronized art, literature, and philosophy. Again, modern empire's definition is not cultural center. Yes, it is correct. It is a feature of modern empire, but it is not its definition. And just like that, D is the correct answer because we have seen that this is a political setup, right? Modern empire was a political setup with these bureaucratic systems. All right. This is why D is relatively correct answer. Nisar, try to understand this that D is the correct definition. All of them are correct options. But which is the best description? The best description is D. All right. So that is why you have to pick it. Let's move on to next question. The question is, oh my goodness. The question is, how did the Gupta Empire contribute to the golden age of ancient civilization? A. It patronized art, literature, and philosophy. B. It expanded the boundaries of empire through military conquest. C. It introduced new technologies and innovations in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. D. It promoted a policy of religious tolerance and respect for cultural diversity. So there are mixed match options. Try to tell me which of the option is correct. Okay. All right. So both of you are saying 4. But actually answer is A and C only. Why is that the case? Because look at the question again. How did the Gupta Empire contribute to the Golden Age? What was the Golden Age? Golden Age was literally money, right? Money, wealth, literature, culture, art, and its development. That is Golden Age. Religious tolerance, is that part of the Golden Age? No, right? I mean, it is associated with Gupta, but is it the feature of religious? Is it the feature of Golden Age? No, right? Please try to understand that part as well. That the Golden Age here refers to the development in economy, in trade, in literature, in art, and in culture, right? So whenever you are writing about Golden Age, you will never mention religious tolerance because that is not the aspect of Golden Age. All right, that is why answer is only A and C. Okay, so now let us move on to the next question. How did the development of agriculture contribute to the rise of Indian ancient civilization? A, it allowed for the establishment of the permanent settlement and the growth of the urban centers. B, it enabled the accumulation of surplus food and resources, which supported the emergence of complex social and political structures. C, it facilitated the spread of ideas, technologies, practices such as irrigation, crop rotation. D, it provided a stable and predictable source of livelihood for its population. What do you think was the best possible contribution of agriculture? Think from that point of view. You will find multiple statements to be correct. You have to find which statement is the best description. Okay. Evangeline, please answer too. All right, both of you are saying A, but there's a flaw in your answer. Why? Because A has, it led to the growth of urban centers. Agriculture. How will agriculture lead to urban centers? Agriculture is more about, it is more about rural areas. All right. Obviously, in like 500 years, that agricultural place, it will eventually become an urban center. But that is not the like the contribution. The contribution is B. It enabled accumulation of surplus food, and this led to the emergence of complex and social and political structure. This is what I told you, that why were the cavemen not as advanced? Why? Because they were always worried about the food. They did not have enough food, and they were always worried about collection of food. But when agriculture came, now they have surplus of food, so they have more time to do other things and build social and political structures. All right, so that is the thing. All right, let's move on to the next question. How did the decline of Mauryan Empire affect ancient Indian history and society? A, it led to a period for political fragmentation and instability that lasted for centuries. B, it paved the way for rise of regional kingdoms and empires such as Satvahana, Kushan, Guptas. C, it contributed to the diffusion of Buddhism and other religious philosophical traditions to different parts of Asia. D, it caused the decline of trade and commerce and the loss of economic and cultural vitality in many parts of the subcontinent. All three of you, please attempt this question. In examination, you will only assign just 1 minute to every question. So try to attempt this question in that timeline only. Okay. Kushagra, you did not answer. Anyway, let's discuss the answer. So the answer is B. Why? Why is it not A, Evangeline? It is not A because the question is, how did the decline of Mauryan Empire affect Indian history and society? So the question is, the option is, it led to a period of political fragmentation. Yes, till here it is correct. But that lasted for centuries. No, it did not last for centuries because just after it, Satvahana kingdom, Kushan dynasties, and Ishkuvakus, and later the Guptas, they started, right? Centuries means hundreds and hundreds of years. So it is saying that this fragmentation continued for 500 years, but that was not the case. All right, that is why option B was more correct. Well, let's move on. Which of the following is the main language of the Buddhist literature in ancient India? Pali, Sanskrit, Prakrit, or Magadhi? It is a very easy question because we have discussed this multiple times. Please focus on main language because Buddhists used different languages. But which was the main language? Why you guys are saying C? Well, that's what I said. See, Prakrit was used, yes. Sanskrit was used, yes. The Kanishk, who was the Kushan ruler, he changed the language of Buddhist literature to Sanskrit. So even Sanskrit was used. And Pali was the main language. Buddha himself taught in Pali, right? Buddha himself taught in Pali. So that is why I'm telling you that focus on these keywords, main language, right? That is how you will be able to increase your accuracy in your attempts. All right, that is why it is very important. And Pali was the main language of Buddhist literature. Even though Prakrit and Sanskrit, they were used in very small amount of literature. Even Magadhi was used. But the question is regarding main language, and I want all four of you to participate as well. Let's move on. Eighth question: which of the following Indian text is not classified as Smriti literature? Mahabharat, Manusmriti, Bhagavad Gita, or Rig Veda? It should be relatively easy answer because we have discussed what Smriti literature is and what Shruti literature is. We have discussed them. Please try and attempt this question. In such question, you should not take more than 30 seconds. Otherwise, you will waste a lot of time in exam as well. Because in some questions, it will be requires like you will require at least 1.5 minutes to solve them. So the questions which have short options, you have to attempt them quickly. All right, Kushagra has answered. Evangeline and Nisar, where are your answers? All right, so you are also saying D. Is correct because Rig Veda is a Shruti literature. Let me revise it for you for a little bit. There are two type of literatures: Shruti literature and Smriti literature. All right, Shruti literature are those literature which are direct word of God, and Smriti literature are those literature which are written by man. All right. So if you look over here, Mahabharata written by man, obviously. Manusmriti written by Manu, obviously. Bhagavad Gita, uh, it is also part of Mahabharata, which is also written by a man. That is why, and Rig Veda, it is the direct word of God. That is why it is a Shruti literature. All right. Let's move forward. All right. Which of the following ancient Indian texts is not associated with the Vedic literature? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Samaved, Atharved, and Thirukkural. It is also a very easy answer if you think about it. So the correct answer is D because Tirukural is a Tamil text and is not associated with Vedic literature of ancient India. All right. However, Samved and Atharved, these are four type of Ved, right? There are four types of Ved: Rig Ved, Samved, Yajurved, and Atharved. So obviously, and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this is an Upanishad. I told you when I taught you ancient India that Upanishad are parts of Ved, right? They are Vedanta. They are parts of Ved. That is why they are also not sorry, that's why they are Vedic literature, but Thirukural is not. All right, let's move forward. Which of the following ancient Chinese travelers visited India during the Gupta Empire and wrote a detailed account on his journey in his book called Siyuki? We have discussed about the travelers and the books that they have written in great detail. So you must remember this. See over here. All right. The answer is B. B is he is Yun Sang, right? He traveled in the Gupta Empire and he spent several years and he wrote a book, Siyuki, which was talking about different things. All right. So this is the thing. Let's move forward to the next question. Which statement about the religion during the Chola period is wrong? A. Thirumai was a Shiv canon. Canon means book. Chola rulers were Vaishnavites. Rajanatakam was a play performed in temples in Thanjavur. Devdana was a practice for gifting the lands to the temples. All right. So you are answering B, which is correct because they were not Vaishnavites, they were Shaivites. All right, correct answer. And some of you might have got this answer incorrect because you were aware of the term Fajian, that's why you were correcting it. By the way, this Yung Sang is also known as Yun Sang, right? So there are different spellings, and that is why you might have gotten a bit confused. Anyway, let's move to the next question. What are the terms like Brahmadaya and Chaturvedi Mangalam referring to? We have discussed many terminologies from ancient India, medieval India, and even modern India. All right. So please keep on revising them because directly such questions are asked. Okay, yes, correct answer. It was the land grant to the Brahmins. Right? These are the terms associated with that. Now let's move on to next question. Which of the following is incorrect about Iltutmish? A. Minajus Siraj was his contemporary. B. He received a Mansoor from Abbasid Caliph. C. He successfully saved India from invasion of Genghis Khan. D. He abolished Turkan-e-Chehalgani as he wanted more control for himself. I told you that medieval India is not that popular of a topic in prelims examination, right? However, such questions can be asked with regards to art and culture in medieval India. And Minhajus Siraj, he is a very important Sufi person. And since Sufi and Bhakti movement, they are very important topics. So such questions will be framed, right? Directly, the questions regarding the rulers will not be asked, but they will ask that who was contemporary to whom, right? Such questions will be asked. All right. Kushagra, Nisar, and Tanvi, please attempt the question as well. And try to do it quickly as fast as possible because in examination, this should be your purpose, right? When you will be sitting giving the prelims exam, your purpose should be to do the questions as fast as possible, obviously with 100% accuracy. But you should develop heading, you should develop a habit of answering questions fast and reading them quickly as well. Nisar and Tanvi, you have not given the answer yet. Excuse me. All right. Well, the answer is D. Why? Because he was the one who started this Turkani Chalgani. but it was Balban who abolished it. Alright, so that is correct, all of you who were saying D. Turkani Chalkani was a noble body. Noble, by nobles I mean the ministers or the nobility in the court of Iltutmish. They were known as Tulkan-e Chahalgani. They were made up of 40 nobles. Alright, and it was started by Iltutmish. But since Balban wanted to become more centralized and he wanted all the power to himself, that is why he abolished Turkani Chahalgani. Right, next question. Which of the following is incorrect about the Lingayat sect? They believed in multiple gods and Shiva being one of them. It was also known as Veerashaiva sect. It was founded by Basava. It followed egalitarian principles and respected women and disregarded the caste system. Okay, all right. Correct. A is correct answer because they believed in monotheism, right? They believed in only one god. And they thought that the Shiva was the only god in existence. That is why even today, some people who follow Lingayat sect, they think that like they are saying that they are not Hindus, because in Hinduism there is a concept of polytheism in which we believe in more than one god, right? That is why this concept is there. Then let's come to next question. Arrange them in the order of division of land from big to small. This was the nomenclature of land in medieval India under Delhi Sultanate, which is the correct order from big to small. Okay, so you guys are saying B, but the answer is actually A. All right, Ikta was big, then there was Shik. After this, Shik were districts, right? Shik were districts. Then Pargana were blocks, and Parganas were group of villages. So villages was the smallest unit. All right, please revise constantly. And let's come to next question. Which of these authors and their works are incorrectly matched? Arya Gazette, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Essays in Indian Economics, M.G. Ranade, The Independent, Motilal Nehru, Bombay Chronicle, Firoz Shah Mehta. Please, all of you, try to attempt the question. Okay. Evangeline, Nisar, and Rupesh, please attempt. All right. So the question was, which of the following is incorrectly matched? But the thing is that Firoz Shah Mehta actually was the person who was working for Bombay Chronicle. So the incorrect answer is Arya Gazette, because Arya Gazette was written by Lala Lajpat Rai. All right. So please remember this as well. Lala Lajpat Rai actually did a lot of work in north of India, and Arya Gazette was one of his Hindu-based books. Right. Come to next question. What were the tool which were used by the governments to suppress the Swadeshi and Swaraj Andolan between 1905 and 1910? Seditious Meeting Acts, Indian Newspapers Act, or Arms Act? At the end of the session, I'll tell you why these questions are important and how to understand the format of the question in future as well. All right. So the correct answer is A. Why? Because Arms Act was brought by Lord Lytton in 1878, while between 1905 and 1910, only Seditious Meeting Act and Indian Newspapers Act was brought, right? Arms Act was brought by Lord Lytton in 1878. Let's move on to next question. Which of the following is correct about the women's organization? Sala Devi Chaudrani set up Bharat Sri Mahamandal. Pandita Ramabai founded Ladies Social Conference. Margaret Cousins founded All India Women's Conference. Only one person has answered. Guys, try not to take more than 40 seconds in the questions in which options are small. Because in economics and in science and in polity, the options will be huge. So you have to save your time for them. All right, let's discuss this. So the correct answer is C. All right, because Saladevi Chaudhary is correct. Margaret Cousins founded this, but I confused you here. Pandita Ramabai founded Arya Mahila Samaj, but Ramabai Ranade founded Ladies Social Conference, right? Both of their names have Ramabai in it. That's why you might have got confused. But it was not Pandita Ramabai, but Ramabai Ranade who founded this organization, right? All right. So now let us move forward to next question. What was the main objective of Brahmo Samaj? See, remember, the question is main objective. Please always focus on such keywords because they are essential and they are your guidelines. So try to answer this question. What was the main objective? It is possible that you might find that all of them are good objectives, but you have to make sure that what you identify the main objective. See, this is something we discussed earlier as well because the answer is actually B. Why? Because look over here. The term used is revival. No, revival. Brahmo Samaj was a reformist organization, not a revivalist organization. When we did SRRM, we discussed the difference between revivalist and reformist organization. Arya Samaj was a revivalist organization, but Brahmo Samaj was a reformist society, reformist organization. And Rajaram Mohan Roy was talking about monotheism and Vedanta. Vedanta means rationalism. That is why option B is correct. Now let's move on to next question. Which of the following was a major criticism of Brahmo Samaj by Orthodox Hindus? See another question in which major criticism by Orthodox Hindus. Orthodox means conservative Hindus. It rejected Hinduism altogether and adopted Christianity. It was a political movement sought to overthrow the British. It was elitist movement that ignored the needs of the masses. It was a reform movement that failed to address the real issues of Hindu society, which is the major criticism of the Brahmo Samaj. All right, so this time you guys are on point because you did not get confused. I was confused that you would say D. But the good thing is that they did address the issues of real Hindu society. That was the true, right? So this was not the criticism. The answer is C, that it was an elitist movement, mainly led by the middle class educated people. All right, let's move on. Why did the cabinet mission on 1946 rejected the Muslim League's demand for a separate state of Pakistan? A. Cabinet mission felt that Congress represents the Indian people and thus Muslim League could not make favorable inroads. B. Muslim League had a renewed demand of a weak center and grouping of Muslim provinces, which was accepted by cabinet mission. C. The cabinet mission felt that a separate state would contain large proportion of non-Muslim population and sizable population of Muslims will still be left in India. And D. The cabinet mission was given a mandate from London to preserve the unity of India. See, these are the questions which have like very long options. So other questions you should be doing in 30-40 seconds. And this is the question you should take around 1 minute. Right? This is how you manage time in exam. Because you know there will be questions which have incredibly long options and you have to give them some time. But the other questions, you should do them quickly. Manage time in examination. All right. Please do answer this question. Nisar and Evangeline, you have not attempted the question yet. All right, let's discuss this. So the correct answer is C, right? The correct answer is C because the Cabinet Commission felt that a separate state would contain a large proportion of non-Muslim population and a sizable portion of Muslims will be left in India if two states are created. See, the reason B is not the correct answer is because the grouping is a different thing. The Muslim League never renewed its demand. It only wanted free Pakistan. Yes, it was happy that some sort of grouping was there, but this was not its own demand, right? That is why B will be incorrect and C will be the correct answer. All right, let's move on. Consider the following statements in the context of general trends in British era economy of India. 1. India's foreign trade, both in volume as well as value, decreased. The second, the drain of wealth from India was mainly due to decreased exports. C. The population generally migrated from rural areas to urban areas. This is a very conceptual question. It requires analysis because you are not aware of these facts when you're sitting in examination. But still you have to make sense of the question and attempt them. So this is one of those questions. Please, all of you, all five of you, please do attempt the question. All right. See, the answer is D. Let me tell you why. First of all, let us start from bottom. That the population was migrating urban to, excuse me, from urban to rural areas. This is something we know that we talked about that Indian handicrafts were destroyed in the cities. So people were now doing agriculture more. And where is the agriculture? It is in rural areas. That's why people were migrating from urban areas to rural areas. Now let us come to the second point. The drain of wealth from India was mainly due to decreased exports. See, always focus on these terms. Mainly. Was it mainly due to decreased exports? No. It was mainly because Britishers were taking all the money to the UK and technically the exports actually they rise, right? There was a rise in exports. All right, so not because of this. That is why this statement is incorrect. Let's come to the first statement. India's foreign trade both in value and in volume decreased. No, that is not correct. I told you this as well, that India's trade did not decrease, but India's participation in the trade decreased. Do you understand the difference? That India was doing much higher trade, but this time from India, it was the Britishers who were doing this trade, not the Indians. So if the question was the trade done by Indians, then the statement one will be correct. But overall, India's foreign trade actually increased under the British. And it was the Britishers who were doing the trade, not Indians. Let's move on. The Ilbert Bill was introduced for granting powers to Indian district magistrates to try European criminals, increasing political representation of Indians in Viceroy Council, transfer of private shares to the government shares in East India Company, spending a fixed part of revenue earned by the British East India Company for education in India. Again, very, very easy question. You should do it in 30 seconds. All right, all of you have lived up to the expectation. Let's move on. Lord Cornwallis had introduced many reforms to organize civil services and to check corruption in East India Company. Which of the following measures were introduced by him? Raising civil servant salary, strict enforcement of rules against private trade, enforcing promotion through merit. Some people have joined late, but it is fine. This lecture will be uploaded so you can watch it. But from next week onwards, please make sure that you join all the lectures on time, because live practice is the purpose of these lectures. All right. Okay, so we have multiple answers. All right. Well, the answers that have been given are all incorrect, because the correct answer is C. Let us go through these options one by one. Did he raise the civil servant salary? Yes, we know. Why did he do that? To make sure that these people don't indulge in corruption. Even today, many people suggest that to reduce the corruption in the government, we should increase the salary of the government servants. So this is the correct option. Let us look at B, right? Strict enforcement of rules against private trade. When I was teaching you about this time, I told you that the British officers, they used to do a lot of private trading. What is private trading? That they used to sell the products which were made by the company without the knowledge of the company, which means they were selling them without the knowledge of the East India Company, and it was not being made part of the accounts book of the company, right? So these officials which were appointed by East India Company, they were doing their own business. That is known as private trade, which was very bad, and that is why Cornwallis stopped it. Third is enforcing promotion through merit. This is incorrect, because again look at the keyword promotions. Enforcement, if the option was enforcing employment through merit, then this option will be correct. But it is promotions, that uh, after appointment, who is promoted? The person who is senior, right? So that is merit, means if someone takes examination, that is merit. But after appointment, nobody takes examination. All right, back in the day, people after appointment, they will not take examination for appointment. Sorry, they will not take examination for promotion. They have already given examination for appointment, right? So the promotion will be based on seniority. Those people who are senior, they will be promoted higher, right? This is how these things were done. So now we are done with 25 questions. All right, but there is one more question remaining, so please do attempt this. What was the mandate of the dual government recommended by Lord Clive? Criminal justice would be left with Nawab, while civil and fiscal matters would be controlled by company. Company will look after the fiscal matters, and all the rest will be dealt by Indian rulers. Indian rulers will deal with the matters of administration under the supervision of company. Indian rulers will be only titular heads, and all the power shall be dealt by directly company. All right. So we have a lot of confusion in the answers because these options are very confusing. Let us look at each option in detail. Let us start from A. Criminal justice system would be left to Nawab, and civil and fiscal matters will be by the company. See, this is incorrect. Why? Because even the civil matters were given to Nawab, and only the fiscal matters, which means the money matter, was given to company. Let us look at option C. Indian rulers will deal with all the matters of administration under the supervision of company. This is incorrect because Indian rulers were only given the matters of administration and the governance, right? Not all the matters of administration, only the governance matter of administration was given to them. Then Indian rulers will only be titular heads, and all power shall be directly dealt by the company. Again, that is incorrect because the system was that the Nawabi was given to the deputy Supedar, and the Diwani rights, the land revenue collection rights, the rights for money, they were given to East India Company. And that's why B option is correct, because company will look after the fiscal matters. Fiscal means monetary matters related to money, and all the rest will be dealt by Indian rulers. And this is why there was problem, because the Indian rulers, they did not do the administration, and company kept on collecting money. So this dual government absolutely led to absolute destruction of the economy of modern India. All right, that's why B is the correct answer. So these were all our questions. So there is very important thing that you should learn from these questions. Next week we will do the same activity. However, let me revise these questions and try to understand the pattern of this question, right? This is very important, that this is how you can identify, because these are very important themes from which I have asked the questions. So let us understand why these themes are important and why the way the questions are framed, they are important. Let us look at them. Let us look at this question. In this question, the question is about comparing two cultures. Comparison between two different cultures will be a very important question which can be asked. So now when you are revising, try to compare different dynasties, try to compare different cultures, right? Try to compare Europeans and French. This is how you should study and revise so that you can remember. Next, this look at this question. It has the very important keyword best describe, right? We discussed this, that best describes means that all these four options will be correct. I can tell you that almost three statements in this question are correct, but only one is the correct answer. Why? Because that will best describe the role of Buddhism. All right. So whenever you're studying anything, try to understand the basic concept behind that thing, because this question will be asked. The question will be which of the following statements is the most relevant statement which supported this, right? So they will use different keywords, but what they are trying to ask you, that which is the closest answer. All the options are correct, but which one is the most fitting answer, right? So these questions will be asked. This is the pattern. Then this question was about significance of the modern empire. This was one of the other different questions, again using the keyword best describe. So please try to be more alert in the examination next time. Whenever you're doing different test series, try to look for these questions, or you can make these questions yourself. Otherwise, I'm here and I will be discussing similar questions in the next Saturday as well. This question we discussed about uh, how did the golden Gupta Empire contributed this. See, this is a very important question, because in this the answer is A and C, but some of you were saying that D option was correct as well. However, see, D option is the feature of Gupta Empire, but not a feature of Golden Age. All right, such questions are asked and they are so confusing in examination that they will give you these options, and this is also like it looks correct, it feels correct, but it is not linked to Golden Age. Just try to rationalize and try to apply your brain that Golden Age means literature, art, philosophy. Yes. Golden Age means astronomy, mathematics, innovation, medicine, technology. Yes. But Golden Age does not mean religious tolerance. All right. Like even then, the Vaishnavites and Shaivites, they were fighting. The Buddhists and Jainis, they were fighting. Right. By fighting, I mean that they had differences. They religious tolerance was there, but religious tolerance was under Akbar as well, right? But Akbar is not known as Golden Age of ancient India. Do you understand this? So whatever the feature, religious tolerance is not the feature of Golden Age. So such questions will be asked in prelims, in which you will think that more than one statements are correct, but try to be more adjective. be more objective, and try to ask this question to yourself: is it really a feature of golden age? All right. So this was one of the other questions as well. And this was one of the questions about decline of modern empire. Such questions will be asked in prelims as well, regarding that what, right. So this is how you should this is how you should revise now. Try to look for the factors which started the modern empire. Try to look for the factors which declined the modern empire, and look and do this practice for everything: the start of Buddhism, the decline of Buddhism; the start of Jainism, the decline of Jainism; the rise of Europeans and the decline of Britishers. This is how you can think and try to revise the topic. This is a very plain, simple, and factual question. Over here, the keyword was main, right? All these four languages were used in Buddhist literature, but which was the main language? That was Pali. Always look for these extreme keywords in your answer. All right. Now, this was the very Smriti Shruti. It was very factual. There's nothing about it. If you know it, then you know. Then this is another question, again very factual. Such questions will be asked especially from the literature of south of India. So I have so many literature points about south of India, especially the Tamil and Sangam literature, which I mentioned in my PPT. So please do revise them multiple times, because they are being asked regularly recently. Now, this is about the foreign traveler who came to India. Please go through all the list of foreign travelers, because they are a very hot topic, often asked not only in prelims but even in mains. But for prelims, they become very important, because if you do not know, you will not be able to solve. But again, there are not many travelers who came to India, and these are very small facts. So try to attempt and understand them. Then this question, again very factual, nothing can be done about it. Then this question, again very factual, but these are terms in ancient India. In ancient India, in medieval India, and even in modern India, we have discussed so many terminologies. And if you look at the previous year questions, you will not believe your eyes. So many questions are being asked directly from these terminologies. So you must be aware of these terms. Please continuously revive the PPT so that you will remember these terms. All right. Then this is about, in this question, it is about Iltutmish, and it has been mentioned that Minhaj Siraj was a contemporary of his. When we were discussing history, I have told you that such questions, that this person is contemporary to this person, such questions are asked so many times. There is only one way to practice for them, and that is by doing the chronology at the beginning of each chapter: ancient, medieval, and modern. I have provided you with the chronology. Please go through the chronology and try to relate two people. Try to answer this question: was Guru Nanak contemporary of Akbar? Was Sheikh Salim Chishti a contemporary of Iltutmish? Right? Just think about this when you are revising, and then you will be able to solve these questions, because they are being asked constantly. All right. Then Lingayat, it is part of Bhakti and Sufi movement. So Bhakti and Sufi movement, please revise them completely. Also, Buddhism and Jainism, every single point of Buddhism and Jainism, you should be revising. See, this is the question which is very factual. Usually, UPSC does not ask this question, but last to last year, such question was asked. It was not this exact question, but it was a similar question, right? So now you have to remember the size of the divisions between in different kingdoms, in Gupta kingdom, in Harsha kingdom, in Vijayanagar Empire, etc. Please make a short note on your own copy and write all these things down. They are all there in the PPT. So while revising, you can make even shorter notes, right? So you have PPT which are big notes. Make your own short notes from them and try to revise them multiple times. Again, these are the works which are asked, and you will not believe so many questions on the books and the journals and their authors are asked so many times, especially the authors in modern India. They are so important. All right. So please revise them as well. That is why I have included these questions, because it is about the most important themes, and the questions and this theme of the author and the work. This is one of the most important topics. All right. Then this is very important, because the question is about this. At the end of the modern India, I provided you with a list of all the governor generals and whatever they did. Right. This is something that I've done. Please go through that list on the last on the which is the last section of your modern history PPT. Over there, I have mentioned all the people who were the governor generals and viceroys, and what has been done under their tenure. And these things are mentioned. All right. So please, for example, Arms Act, you could have solved this directly, because Arms Act was under Lord Lytton. If you would have known that, it would be easy. So whatever the work has been done under one governor general, such themes are constantly asked. All right. Then this question is about women's organization. See, modern India, from first chapter to last chapter, it is the most asked topic. Facts, concepts, analytical and understanding based questions, they are asked, and the uh, they are the food and the staple of UPSC. All right, so please remember, all these facts are in your PPT. All you have to do is to go and revise them. And this is again regarding to SRRM, something that you have to revise. Otherwise, like, this is something, if you know, then you know, otherwise you don't. Then this is also one of the criticism questions regarding them. Again, this requires understanding. All these things are in the PPT. And Brahmo Samaj I have mentioned because social religious reform movement is a very hot topic. It is asked many times. All right, so please do revise that multiple times as well. Then this is about cabinet mission. So when India was in the phase of getting independence, that phase is important. That phase starts from the First World War. First World War starts in 1939. So in the PPT or anywhere, if you are revising from anywhere as well, from 1939 till 1947, please revise everything which has happened in India. August offer, crisp mission, cabinet mission, right? Shimla agreement, Mountbatten plan, 3rd June plan. All these things must be on your fingertips because they will be asked constantly. And if they are not asked in prelims, they will ask you in the interview. This is a very important topic from the beginning of World War I, 1939 till 1947. All right. And again, this is a question which was, this is something that nobody would have guessed in the exam, because people do not usually study these, right? Because why would you study about the such specific things? But over here you were supposed to apply your brain. So please try to look into this question and ask yourself, how could you have how could you have arrived at the correct answer, right? After this session, look at this question and ask yourself, what could you have done differently in terms of breaking down the question, that you have arrived at the right conclusion. All right, then this is very factual question again. Then again, Lord Cornwallis I mentioned. Why? Because the Governor General questions are asked. Whatever has been done under particular Governor General, that will be asked. That particular list has been provided at the end of the modern history. So please look into that. Again, this is the concept of dual government under Lord Clive, right? Because he was one of the military generals of modern India as well under the Britishers. So this was all about, yes, the Second World War, which started from 1939. From that date onwards till 1947, everything which happened in India, INA trials, the movement of Subhash Chandra Bose, uh, the movement of RIN revolt, etc. All these things must be remembered because they are very important. All right. Okay. So we will meet next Saturday. Please be available and at time, and then we will discuss further more questions. All right. Have a good day. And if you have any questions, yes, all these topics are in the PPT. Just go in the PPT and revise them. All right. So if you have any questions, you can ask in the group, right? And we will meet in next Saturday. All right. Have a good day. And this PPT and this lecture will be uploaded. So please go through it again. All right.